Good afternoon and welcome to Newman Church. My name's Geoff Greene. I'm the minister of music here. And it's my great pleasure to welcome everyone today to celebrate the music of Will Todd and Chris Turner. Thanks for coming on this rainy day in April here. It seems like it's been raining forever, doesn't it? But thankfully we have music to keep us going. I would ask at this time, before I forget, if you have cell phones, if you really want to check them right now and turn them off or silence them, or if you have candy that you want to unwrap, you can do that right now while I'm speaking to you. That would be no problem. That's better than during the music. The first piece we're going to sing to you, "The Lord is My Shepherd," is the familiar text of the 23rd Psalm. It's perhaps the most well-known text on the face of the earth. And it's a beautiful setting by Will. Beautiful long melodies, some lush, vibrant harmonies. And interesting story about this. We did this last year in concert here. It was the first piece we did by Will Todd, and Lucky Rattan in the choir turned me on to Will's music. And after the concert, I put a YouTube link up to the piece, and within a week I was contacted by Will Todd's agent, who was looking for choirs to join a concert down in New York that we're going to talk about later. But it was all just because of this one 4.5-minute song, "The Lord is My Shepherd," that turned us on to everything that's happened in the last year. So it's always exciting to see how much one performance can change the whole direction of a music program, of our lives, you know. So we're delighted to open the concert today with "The Lord is My Shepherd." I first met Chris Turner when I asked him, I ran into him at a fundraiser, and I said, Chris, do you think you could come and play a concert for us at Newman and raise money for the Bread of Life food pantry? And he didn't even hesitate and said, yes, I would love to do that. And we've been playing music together ever since, and it's been one of the most rewarding relationships musically and personally in my life. And we're delighted to be able to do And He Healed Them. And this is a premiere. Last year we did a concert called Parable of the Trees, and that was, we arranged it for a chamber orchestra, and we did it here, and it was just wonderful. And it was the Old Testament story from the book of Judges, the trees being offered different things, and it was a great story. And so Chris wanted to do a New Testament setting, and this is Jesus from the Gospels healing the people. And He heals the people with diverse diseases, and He heals the lunatic, and He heals those with palsy, and you'll notice the spelling is the King James Version, and all that stuff. And the piece is great because it's great word painting. It's often two-part harmony, and you hear the torments, and you hear the music really reflects the meaning of the words, and it's really lovely. And it makes me think how lucky I am to be here at Newman doing work with such great people like Chris. And just even in general, when you think about the music that goes on around the greater Providence and Rhode Island area, how lucky we are to have Steve Martorella, who's the music director at the First Baptist Church of America. And Steve was a scholar with the New York Philharmonic, studying with Leonard Bernstein at a very young age, or Dave Zinno, who plays and teaches at URI. And we're just so blessed to have such great talent around here. And I feel very lucky and rewarded that at Newman we're able to bring that to you, because I think it's very unique. So as we do this piece, I just want to talk a little about the setting. One of the things Chris and I collaborated on with this is that we really wanted to have the organ take an active role in telling the story. So you'll hear that the organ often introduces what the choir's about to sing. You'll hear the melodies repeated. It's just a very clever way to tell the story both through the music and through the words. And I guess with that I'll say, when you think about the meaning of the text, and we talk about Jesus traveling throughout Syria and the great multitudes following Him and all the challenges, the words still ring true. Think about all the things going on in Syria right now, Israel and the Palestinians, and all these words, all this scripture still is so relevant to everything going on in our lives today. So isn't that cool that the music can help tell that story? So we're delighted to give the premiere of And He Healed Them. I just want to acknowledge Chris is here and thank him for that. Chris, thank you. So earlier I mentioned that I was contacted by Will Todd's agent, and what happened is they invited us to go down and sing in Lincoln Center with the Distinguished Concerts International of New York, and they were doing the American premiere of Songs of Peace. And so we were fortunate that 7 of us from Newman were able to go and participate, and we sang the next 2 works, No More Sorrow and Songs of Peace. And it was a really life-changing event. We got to really work with Will Todd directly and get to know him, and Dr. Jamie Meters, who was just wonderful to work with. And Will played the piano for the performance, and he was at the rehearsals. And we got quite a bit of chance to speak with him about the music and life in general. He was very interested in everyone's music. He was really asking Becky Bass a lot about her reggae gigs that were going on and stuff. It was cool. And he told us this story about No More Sorrow, how he had written this piece. It was a personal statement because he had a child who had been sick with cancer and had been through chemo and all that. And fortunately, his son did very well. And after he finally kind of digested that whole thing, he felt this relief, years later, about 2 years after. And this is the song that came to him as an expression of the relief. And for me, I had a son with cancer, so it was hit me so hard, I was like, wow. Well, and he gave me a hug when I told him that. He was so great. And the piece as it's written in the full score calls for harp, piano, and 9 strings, actually, split violin, 1, 2, viola, cello, and double bass. And but in New York, when we performed it, just Will played piano. There were no other instruments, and it worked great. We had a 9-foot Steinway concert grand on stage, which was kind of nice too. But what I did, and Stephen and I collaborated on this, is we thought, wouldn't it be nice to arrange the strings for the organ? And so that's what I did. I kind of excerpted the strings, and we're fortunate to have Gigi Mitchell-Velasco playing the organ for us today, which really texturally helps a lot. And we are turning the electronic piano into the harp for this one, and Dave's going to play the double bass, which is one of the string parts called for. So I'm hoping it's true to what Will had in mind when he wrote the score. Beautiful, lush, vibrant harmonies again, warm, and just gorgeous long melodies, particularly in the women's parts. It's just lovely writing. So without further ado, No More Sorrow. There's a lot of folks to thank who helped make today possible. Starting with Pastor Timoth, who always supports the music ministry so well, and Michelle White, the administrator, does so much to help us, and Rick Bowman, the sexton, did a lot to help me personally, the music committee, the choir themselves. We have a great reception immediately following Songs of Peace. There's lots of great treats. I made a banana bread. Just saying. Good stuff out there. It's directly through this door, and right after the concert, you're welcome to join us. Interesting, talking again to Will about the Songs of Peace. The only two pieces he's written in the last 15 years that were not on commission were No More Sorrow and Songs of Peace, which is amazing because he's performed for the Queen of England and President Obama, dignitaries from around the world. And that to me was just so amazing. And the reason Songs of Peace was so pertinent because it was something he wrote after his mom passed away. It was a personal statement, and he mentioned how several of the movements were completely extemporized. He just sat down to the piano and improvised, and this is what he got, like the fifth movement, which has some crazy harmonies, was just complete extemporization. So I thought that was just amazing. And again, hitting home, I just lost my mom and my aunt, and so many of us in the parish and other members of the choir recently lost their moms. So we're going to dedicate this piece to our mothers because we're so thankful for all of our great moms who've been so good to us. Songs of Peace is an interesting, it's an interesting offering because you start with the Requiem, which is the traditional Latin text, but it's set with jazz harmonies and jazz rhythms. Really cool. And then you go to Precious Moment, the second movement, which is this slow, lilting, beautiful duet for the sopranos and altos, and this lovely kind of canon between the two parts. It's gorgeous. Just As I Am, the third movement, is a melody that's traditionally sung at funerals in England. I didn't know that, actually. And then so the choir will sing the opening of the third movement a cappella, and then it goes right into this groove and blues tune where Stephen gets to really let loose. It's really quite something. It's funny, Will, he said, in rehearsal, he said, I'm really bad at playing my own piano parts. I just improvise and go with it. So I found that, and he did, and you could tell every time he did it differently. So you can have lots of liberties today, Stephen. The Ave Verum is the traditional text, again, the Latin, beautiful setting, again for the women in duet. And then that Song of Peace, fifth movement, which gets into 8 parts in the choir, quite a bit. Lots of changes in tempo and expression. It's really quite a masterwork, even though it's short. And then the final movement, Into the Stars, which is another movement where Will wrote the words, is this ethereal tone poem, where he's really trying to paint eternity, the eternity of it all, of the universe and the stars and us and how we look into the stars. And it's really, hopefully it'll be magical for all of us. And the piece doesn't end with Into the Stars. It actually has kind of a surprise little ending. So I'll ask you to hold, you've been good about not clapping in between, but if you wait all the way till the very end of this piece, it has the ending that you might not think it's going to have. Again, we did the American premiere 3 weeks ago, so I have to think this will be the second time it's been performed in the United States, unless someone snuck one in the last 3 weeks. So there it is, Songs of Peace.